Greetings, I'm Tim of Gothberg, and welcome to the world of Hublot. Today, I will be your guide to the usage as well as the functions and care of your Hublot Big Bang MECA-10 King Gold. This is a manual wind timepiece, and it's wound by taking the crown in its first position flush to the case and turning in a clockwise direction. This is a watch endowed with an enormous 10-day power reserve, so from a full wind, it will run for 240 hours. There are two power reserve displays on the dial to help you track the remaining autonomy in the watch. The primary power reserve is located at 6 o'clock, and you can see that it's easily identified. The aperture that is framed in red shows you how many days of reserve remain, and then there's a second power reserve at 3 o'clock that changes from black to red as the watch enters its final 48 hours of operating autonomy. That's your cue that the watch is down to its last 20%, and it's the time for you to start winding the watch lest you risk stoppage within 2 days. Continue winding the watch. It has twin mainspring barrels, and we'll take a look at those in a minute. But the important thing is that your approximate cue to stop winding the watch is going to be a click and a slight ramp up in pressure towards the end of the travel. Though it involves a rather vigorous wind, by the standards of extreme power reserves, the MECA-10 actually has a rather high gearing ratio for its manual wind, which is to say everything moves relatively quickly. You'll also note that at 3 o'clock, that secondary low power reserve has changed to entirely black, so you know at a bare minimum just by looking at the color cue that you're no longer down to your last 44 or 48 hours of running autonomy. The timepiece also features, and we'll enjoy these while we wind the watch, one-click release lugs. And I'm showing you the full wind because I want you to be absolutely confident that though it does take some time to wind the watch, that is the correct amount of time, and the winding interval should not be cause for alarm, even though it takes a good solid minute of winding to reach the end of the travel. And sure enough, as the frame begins to orbit and then lock in around the 10, we're fully wound. And you can see the crown backing up just a little bit as I've reached full wind. There will be a ramp up in pressure and the power reserve will stop traveling. Now let's talk about that feature that we mentioned just a moment ago, the one-click quick release system on the lug. It's just like an automotive seatbelt buckle. You press it down, it pops out. If you want to change the look of the watch, if you want to clean precisely, this is ideal. It allows rapid swapping of straps. You simply press it back in and listen for the click. That's your sign that it's now sure tight. Works the same way on both sides. The strap is designed to interface with a minderless clasp system, and the clasp tucks any excess length in underneath its body, so there's no need for minder loops on the strap itself, and you won't see excess length once it's been sized down. The timepiece is set by pulling the crown out 1 to 10. It is not a screw down crown, and then you simply turn clockwise or counterclockwise. There's no hazard to using one direction or the other. There's no date mechanism to worry about here. You can set in either direction, whichever gets you to the correct time most quickly. You'll also note that the watch is a 100-meter water-resistant timepiece. The advanced seal system manages to achieve that without the need of a screw-down crown. So we should talk about the 3 principal hazards to your watch, starting with water. The timepiece, being 100 meters water-resistant, is sufficient for swimming, and thus this is a perfectly viable aquatic watch when fitted with a water-resistant band such as this natural vulcanized rubber. It is important to note that you can help avoid accidental drowning. Keep the crown flush to the case. Don't turn it, don't pull it, don't press it. Not just while the watch is submerged, but even while there is water on the case, as attempting to use crown functions on a wet watch can bypass the seals and introduce moisture to the interior of the timepiece. It's also important to remember that water resistance is not a static feature of your watch, and per Hublot, over time, the watch will be relatively less water resistant as seals age and lubricants dry. Hublot recommends having your watch water tested at an authorized service center at least every 24 months. Magnetism is another concern. You can see the balance of the watch has a ferrous hairspring breathing at its center. That hairspring is the heartbeat of your timepiece, and it can become altered by proximity to a electromagnet or a static magnet. Now consider that magnets are present in the closures of refrigerator doors, wallets, purses. There are magnets in speakers and subwoofers, as well as high-powered electronics. So keep the watch remote from all of these, and if you note erratic running, it may be slow, it may be fast. The watch may be magnetized. Take it to an authorized Hublot service center where specialized equipment is available to quickly and easily demagnetize the watch. While magnetism can be reverted relatively quickly, shock and concussion can cause more permanent damage to your watch. Direct trauma against the case and crystal can damage the water resistance, the fittings, even shatter or displace the crystals themselves. It's important to keep the watch disused during high-impact activities such as batting, tennis, golf, firearms marksmanship, or the riding of mountain bikes and ATVs, as these can concuss the watch, minimally causing timing error, maximally causing physical damage to the timepiece. Ultimately, every timepiece deserves a periodic comprehensive overhaul, and per Hublot, this will be roughly every 3 to 5 years. It's best to have the total cosmetic, water resistance, and chronometric condition of your watch tested during the 24-month water test interval. When you have your watch in for the water test, have everything checked. If a comprehensive overhaul is required, it will involve reconditioning of the case, replacement of the strap, restoration of water resistance, as well as cleaning, oiling, and adjustment of the movement. Perform exclusively at Hublot authorized service centers or with the factory itself, as these agencies solely have the trained personnel, specialized tools, and original Hublot factory replacement parts to protect the value of your watch as both instrument and as investment. Moreover, only these agencies can back all labor and parts invested with an Hublot factory service warranty. Finally, visit our website at govbergwatches.com and call, text, or email our experts who will be happy to walk you through every phase of the usage and care of this or any Hublot timepiece.